Questions from the floor?
Thank you very much, Mr. Pierre, for this important press conference. And actually, we know that Canada is a place for all, not for terrorists and terrorism. What we have seen in the last few years, that some weird demonstrations, I call it chaos, that include people who insult Canada and wish death to our beautiful country. And the most painful thing is to burn my flag, my Canadian flag. This is so painful for all of the Canadians. The people who do this are covering their faces. We don't know their identity. And this is also a big problem, because as a journalist and media, Canadian media from Middle East roots, we receive some threats. My question is, why the police and the authorities do not take actions against this? Because it is not one time, two times, it is repeated over a long time, and there is some violence, there is some threat for many people, and we do not use to have Canada like this. If you, in your position, you are the opposition leader, what you can do to return Canada now, and if you are the Prime Minister, God willing, what you can do to make our culture is quiet and safe again.
Thank you very much for that question, and I'm so sorry that you have faced these threats. This is another example of our country devolving into chaos. Everything is broken. When we have patriotic journalists facing threats of violence from terrorist sympathizers who now operate with impunity after 9 years of Trudeau and the NDP and their radical, divisive, dangerous ideologies. The police need to enforce existing laws and arrest anyone who's making these threats against journalists. We need to lock up violent offenders and keep them behind their bars with jail and not bail, with mandatory jail time for serious violent offenses. We need to ban the terrorist organizations that have been fomenting this hate and these attacks, Samadoun, Houthis, and others. Samadoun was on our streets 2 or 3 days ago, celebrating the genocide, the biggest attack on Jews since the Holocaust, burning our flags, organizing hatred, and making overt calls for violence against our people. Samadoun, the Houthis, and their organizers should be arrested. They should be put behind bars. We should secure our borders to keep terrorists and those who work with them out of our country and keep our country safe again. And we need a prime minister who will unite our people and bind up the wounds of the nation by bringing home the country that we knew and still love.
Thank you. Next question.
Shahrzad Ghani from Epoch Times Persian. Mr. Paliev, now IRGC is listed as a terrorist organization. What is your plan in the future as like a Paliev's government plan to take some actions? Looks like just listing IRGC as a terrorist organization is not enough. What is your plan to just take some more actions specifically for Iranian community here to feel safe, that they're living in a safe environment without interference from Islamic Republic? And also, what actions can be taken to immediately deport those who have ties with Islamic Republic?
Thank you. Great question. And first of all, thank you to the courageous Persian population in Canada who have consistently stood up against the regime in Tehran in massive demonstrations, which I have been honored to attend. The Persian community, like the Jewish community, is under attack. The IRGC and 700 Iranian agents are operating with impunity on our soil, threatening, harassing, abusing our Persian and Jewish people here in Canada. And it's time for the RCMP and the police to track down these agents, charge them, and if they are not citizens or permanent residents, they need to be expelled from our country. We see top officials from the Iranian government that have been seen in gyms and living in mansions and enjoying the plunder that they stole from the Iranian people here in our country. They should be expelled from our country. We should issue deportations on them because they are terrorizing our Persian people here in Canada. We must make sure that IRGC cannot set up a proxy organization like they always do. That's what the Tehran does. The Tehran doesn't do it directly. They always get a proxy to do it. And so the Houthis could become that proxy in the future now that the IRGC is finally banned. We need to ban the Houthis. We need to quickly set up the foreign influence registry that the liberals have been dragging their feet on, and that way we can expose anyone who's working for a foreign dictatorship, jail them if they break the law, expel them if they are harassing our population. We will once and again make this a safe place for all Canadians, Persian Canadians, Jewish Canadians, Canadians of all backgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Mr. Polyev, good morning. David Menzies with Rebel News. Given the immigration minister's shocking comments about the lack of security vetting for migrants, should Canada suspend bringing any more refugees from Gaza?
We can't let anyone in unless they have been thoroughly vetted. All of their background, all of their affiliations need to be clearly vetted. Because you're quite right in saying that this government of Justin Trudeau has let in criminals and terrorists. In the case of, think of this case of this apparent ISIS fighter who appears to have been in a video cutting up a human body on a crucifix in the Middle East. He did this, according to this video, before he was granted admission to Canada and then given citizenship in this country. And then finally, we had to arrest him because the French reached out and said they had intelligence that he was about to carry out a massive terrorist attack here in the greater Toronto area. And then there was a second terrorist who got into this country and then ultimately was preparing an attack on Jews from Canada to go to New York, where he was going to kill the Jewish population there. Justin Trudeau has lost control of our borders. His radical ideology, his total incompetence, and his appalling border policies are dangerous to the country. When I am Prime Minister, yes, we will welcome immigrants, but we will do so by vetting security and their lawfulness, ensuring that the people who come here are safe and that our citizens are likewise safe.